Hello everyone, this is Clayton here, and my website and application that I downloaded and researched is called Game Maker Studio, and it is essentially what the name says it is. It is um, it's a process and an application that allows you to make a game while coding, but not actually coding because all of us don't know how to do that. So it allows people who don't know how to code to make a game via these drag and drop options over here. So if you don't know the actual code, you can just drop these um, uh, into the program. I'll go over it a little bit more later, but you can just drop these in there and it'll write the code for you. So I had a lot of fun doing this. My final project that I created was basically the game Asteroids, if you have ever played that. So I made the little triangle that you drive around and it feels like you're driving in space. But I basically ran a program that allows me to drive that triangle around the screen, and I will run that later for you. But yeah, so I had a lot of fun doing it, and this is called Game Maker Studio. And when I researched a little bit more about them, um, obviously it is not a social media site or anything, but it does have the capabilities of posting onto one of these sites. So, in terms of in the classroom, teachers will definitely need to monitor um, and make sure that you cannot post this anywhere other than just the classroom. But yeah, so I'm going to go through a couple of the things that we read and watched within the module. First thing I'm going to talk about is CIPA, the Children's Internet Protection Act. It prevents online predation, cyberbullying, and inappropriate content. So as I said before, you would want to make sure that Facebook and Instagram and Snapchat and all of those are inaccessible so that these students cannot go out posting these things online. The next one is COPPA. It's the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act. This has info. Well, this tells us that info about students under the age of 13, info about them cannot be collected without parental consent. So you would have to make sure that you have all parents, all parents' permission. There's the word I was looking for. Permission to release this info or anything that they do online. Essentially, you have to make sure that they have parental consent. So the next one I want to talk about is the understanding multimedia learning reading that we did and integrating technology and multimedia into the K through 12 program. The first thing I noticed was that it also talked about the digital natives and the digital immigrants that Prensky had talked about. I thought that was very interesting. The next thing we read in that article was about brain processing and schemas and working memory and long-term memory and short-term memory and how it relates to multimedia learning. So basically, words and pictures are a lot better than just words. So you can incorporate multimedia into the curriculum and it will ultimately help the children because nowadays that helps children a lot more than just lecturing them with paper and pen. And for learning to occur, the working memory has to transform into the long-term memory. That's where learning occurs. So you would need to incorporate as many things into the classroom as possible to help your children and one of those is multimedia. So other things that it said were multimedia learning is more effective when it's interactive. So if you give the children the choice to work on something and they are interactive and you are facilitating their learning rather than just lecturing them and making them do something they don't want to do, that will be much better if it is interactive. Um, Multimedia that includes animation is better. It keeps the kids more involved and engaged. Um, One other thing that's really important to remember um, whilst teaching these things to children is that feedback is crucial. You know, these things are not easy concepts. They're very complex. Technology is, I mean, it's moving fast and it's always evolving. So you need to make sure that you're giving positive feedback to your children in the classroom. Um, so I'm going to get into talking about Game Maker Studio. I had a lot of fun, and this can be integrated into the classroom in the sense that these kids could pick any one character or image and create a game out of it. So, you know, one thing that I did was the asteroids. Now, that game might be a little too old for children nowadays, but of course there are other games out there. So they could pick one image, and that's just what I did. So basically, I went here and I created it. I drew this very lovely triangle with many sides, and then I implemented that into here. So now there's my figure, and then I went and I executed the code. So I created it all on my own, and before I started this, I had no idea what I was doing. But I learned a lot, and it is definitely very interactive. The kids would have a lot of fun with it, and they can make it whatever they want. Like you said, I mean, like you saw, I created it. That's my figure that I made, so you can draw anything that you want. Um, and then, so I went, where is it? I went over to the workspace, and then, oh yeah, here. Basically, I executed the code. I wrote a bunch of code. Let's see if I can. See, I'm still not completely. There we go. There's the code. So yeah, I mean, you can tell that um, I went in and I dragged and dropped and watched tutorials and figured it out, and I was able to create a game. And I could have kept going, but I'm going to run it for you. I created this off of um, Game Maker by myself, so I'm going to run it here. Takes a little bit to set up, but yeah. So I had a lot of fun making it, and I think it would be an awesome um, tool and lesson to give to your children because they would have a lot of fun with it. First of all, they would learn how to code, and you know they might pick it up as a hobby, and later on down the road, this is actually helping them to maybe get a job, or you know if they start coding early enough, then this would help them farther down in their career. So it's a great lesson to incorporate. So I had to write code um, for everything to make that shape, to make it move, to make it the speed that it's going, to make it you know the size that it is. So now whenever I press the arrows, it'll turn whatever way I want it to, and then if you press the go, it goes, and it's just like the game. You know, now I can't shoot anything, and there's no asteroids, but that's basically what I did, and you can, you know, it's basically like driving in space. So it was a lot of fun. I think the kids would have a lot of fun with this in the classroom, and I can't wait to see all of your presentations as well. So thank you very much, and we'll tech you later.